Hey there, guys. I have some breaking news. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Dignity Act reintroduced. Reintroduced. It's getting a lot of press coverage. Believe it or not, guys, there are a lot of good things in there, a lot of great things. Come on in Instagram. I'm not sure what's going on here with you tonight with my connection. Come on in and say hello. We're going to keep going. We There's a lot to talk about, guys, because this is a bipartisan bill. And 10 Republicans and 10 Democrats are part of this. All right. The bill is actually 261 pages. We're going to just go through the major good things. Believe it or not, even the American Immigration Lawyers Association endorsed much of this. Okay, much of this. There are some good things. I took the time tonight to read through the summary, and I'm only going to focus, guys, on things that things that are going to impact real people. I'm not sure what's going on with Instagram. I might need some help with Instagram, if you guys are able to, just jump over to YouTube or jump over to TikTok at McBean Immigration Law. I don't know what's going on here. I might have to restart on Instagram, but I still see people are joining. Join us over on McBean Immigration TV or on TikTok. All right, guys, type in freedom now. Freedom now. Freedom now. We have so much to talk about. Okay, let's go right into the breaking news. Okay, guys, so today, Representative Salazar, very fiery Republican senator, has been speaking a lot. I'm sorry, Congresswoman, not senator, Congresswoman, out of Florida has been speaking a lot these days about the Dignity Act. There was a lot of buildup, a whole lot of buildup leading into today. And so she is the main sponsor, along with Representative Veronica Escobar out of Texas. And they introduced what they're calling a historic bipartisan Dignity Act to finally fix America's broken immigration system. And this is the press release that they issued just a little while ago. I'm not going to get into all of the details, but essentially they're saying that there are 20 members of Congress on the House side who are part of this process, this bipartisan process. And again, it's 10, we're talking about 10 Republicans and 10 Democrats. I might have to do something with Instagram. Something is going terribly wrong, I think, with Instagram. 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans who have signed up for this. Okay. And my live session has ended on Instagram. Can you please grab that for me? And maybe we'll just bypass Instagram going forward. Now, just to jump back on the screen here, guys, this this massive bill, of course, it has things in there about border security, about increased penalties and fines, and criminal enforcement provisions, and other things like even e-verify, mandatory e-verify is part of this, which would force employers to use the e-verify system. But the good stuff really starts with the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act is in this, guys, to allow individuals who were brought to the United States as children to be able to have a path to citizenship. Now, the media and a lot of what the Congresswoman, particularly Congresswoman Salazar, is putting out there is that, there is no amnesty in here. This is not amnesty. We took out the pathway to citizenship. We did all of that. But the truth of the matter is that through the DREAM Act, which is part of this, Dreamers as well as DACA recipients would be eligible for conditional permanent resident status if they were continuously present in the United States since January 1st, 2021, and were 18 years old or younger when they entered the United States. Okay. Type in freedom now, guys. Dreamers and DACA recipients must also have completed high school or obtained a GED or currently be enrolled in secondary school. They must register for the draft if eligible and undergo a criminal background check. Those with previous felony offenses, multiple misdemeanors, excluding traffic violations, and possession of cannabis, or convicted of domestic violence are ineligible. Waivers for certain misdemeanors may be granted if the alien has not been convicted of any offense in the last 5 years, and multiple may be granted if the alien has not been convicted of a misdemeanor in the last 10 years. And the application process would be the fee would not exceed $1,100. And with respect to this permanent resident status, friends, it's for 10 years. Again, this is on a conditional basis for those of you who are considered a dreamer or a DACA recipient. It also says here that the conditional status shall be removed, allowing the alien to become a lawful permanent resident and eligible for citizenship if they remain in the United States and achieve one of the following: a college or graduate degree. They've served at least 3 years in the military and are employed and working for at least 4 years. Now, some of this obviously is not new. Many of you are well familiar with the DREAM Act, and it's been reintroduced for over 20 years now, right? And so it's part of this Dignity Act. It's part of it. This is a great thing if it passes. There's some momentum, right? And a lot of press coverage related to this, but this still has a ways to go. It has to pass the House as well as the Senate, and then President Trump has to agree to this. All right. Now, that's the first good news with respect to this Dignity Act, is that the call him the Dignity Program. The Dignity Program. Let's see. Thank you guys for being here. Freedom Now, Freedom Now. I see a lot of people are joining from YouTube. Welcome. Thank you. If you were having problems on Instagram, my apologies. It just shut down on me tonight. Let's talk about the Dignity Program. It's a 7-year program. It does not lead to permanent residency or citizenship. It just doesn't do that. And I could tell you right now, I know thousands of people who have met with me over the years would give anything to be part of this Dignity Program. Although it doesn't lead to residency and it doesn't lead to citizenship, thousands who I know personally would have a lawful status. It would also allow for you to work, to have a travel document, and to renew this status of dignity status for another 7 years. But the way that the program works, friends, is that through this dignity program, undocumented immigrants are provided a chance to work, earn legal status, and get right with the law. This is their language, not mine. Applicants must comply with all federal and state laws, pass a criminal background check, pay back taxes. I don't know why there's an assumption that you might have back taxes. Some do, but others do not. But pay back taxes and start paying regular income taxes. The clock starts when the individual reports to DHS, Department of Homeland Security, pays an initial fine, contributes to the American Worker Fund, and we'll talk a little bit more about that fund momentarily, and they enroll in this Dignity Program. Again, it's a 7-year program that provides temporary legal status, work authorization, travel authorization, and protection from removal proceedings. Does this sound familiar to you guys? It sounds obviously very similar in some ways to like TPS, right? Or DACA, where you can work and maybe get a travel document and protected from removal proceedings. But this one is specifically for specific to it gives you a 7-year stretch in this program. And now this is where it gets not so good, not so great. It's not so great because in this regard, because you would be required to pay $7,000 in what they call restitution during the 7 years of this program. You must check in with DHS every 2 years and remain in good standing. And as a matter of fact, further along, it talks about the fact that when you check in, that's when you have to pay towards this $7,000. And it also says that individuals in this dignity program will not have access to federal means tested benefits or entitlements. Let's keep going. It says here that successful completion of the Dignity Program provides the option to receive an indefinitely renewable 7-year dignity status to maintain work authorization and a legal status in the U.S. Again, you're protected from deportation. To be eligible for this, individuals must have been physically and continuously present in the United States since December 31st, 2020, are eligible to enroll in the you would be eligible to enroll in the Dignity program provided that you meet this residency requirement. You must also, obviously, like with any immigration benefit, go through a criminal background check and again, pay an initial contribution in the beginning of $1,000. $1,000 in the beginning, but overall throughout the program, you're going to pay $7,000 in total if this passes. If this passes. All right. As I'm doing this, hold on a second. As I'm doing this, which I know this is fine here. Let's go here. Um, as I'm doing this, type in your comments and let me know how things are. Okay. Let's go. Freedom now. Let's go. Let's see. Let me just communicate with someone here. Let's keep going. All right. Now, let's see. How do you register for this? They call it a registration period, okay? All Dignity Program participants must register with DHS. They must submit to biometric data, and you must also submit a sworn declaration admitting to having unlawful presence here in the United States. And then within 2 years of the enactment of this law, all unauthorized language, again, guys, must register for the program, the Dignity Program, or leave the United States. Those who voluntarily leave, and this will be a very big change in the law, I would say, those who voluntarily depart will not be subject to any penalties for having been in the United States undocumented if they leave and attempt to re-enter through a separate legal channel. Okay, so that's interesting. So you might be here undocumented for years, okay? You might be here undocumented for many years, and then you decide, well, I'm just going to give this up. I'm going to leave. They're saying that if you do that and then you try to come back in legally, lawfully, you'll be fine. Okay. Then it also says here that, let's keep going. Participants in the program must work or attend school for at least 4 years of the program, 4 years 4 years of the program, with exceptions for caregivers, those with disability. If you have a disability or any kind of impediment, or if you have young children, you don't have to meet this 4 years. So essentially, 4 out of the 7 years, you must be either working or in school. And then every 2 years, they will check in with the DHS to confirm their place of residence and provide testimony of good standing within their community. They will pay the additional restitution payments to support American workers during every check-in until a total amount of $7,000 has been paid. Again, the check-in requirement is every 2 years. You might be saying to yourself, this is ridiculous in some ways. This is ridiculous. It's so prescriptive. Every 2 years, I'll have to check in. and pay restitution, making me feel like I'm a bad person, I've done something wrong. But what you guys have to understand is this. And then there's more fees, and I'm going to get to the tax as well, because there's also a 1% tax that's part of this. But what you guys need to understand is, because this is an effort to, because this is an effort to, um, this is an effort, guys, to get something passed, to get something done, particularly during this environment. Things are really, really, really tough. They have to make this appear tough in some ways and punish people in some ways. So there's a degree of punishment that's part of this. So that's why there's the checking in, there's the restitution, there's your affidavit and your declaration and your this and your that. There's a lot to it. But I tell you again, I know thousands of people would jump for the opportunity to do this because it does give them lawful status. You must also purchase health insurance. We've already talked about paying taxes. You must support your dependents. Um, you will also be responsible for a 1% tax on your adjusted gross income. They're going to tax you a little bit more. And this money will be used to fund border infrastructure and other projects, and to help pay down our national debt. Pay down our debt. Like, this is really a priority for this government. If an immigrant violates the conditions of the Dignity Program, the DHS secretary shall initiate removal proceedings against that individual. Now, when you've successfully, if this passes, okay, let's pretend like this is really going to pass. It could. It could. Again, this is bipartisan. They've taken out certain problematic things, like a pathway to citizenship that's gone for undocumented individuals, except for Dreamers and folks and DACA recipients. Okay, they have a pathway to citizenship in this bill, but most everyone else do not. So that big part is gone from this reintroduced Dignity Act. Upon successful completion of the Dignity program, the individual may then apply for dignity status, and they will be allowed to stay in the US and continue working. And those holding and this status again is renewable every seven years. And if you remain in good standing with the law, you can remain in this status for as long as you want and renew it as many times as you want. Okay, as many times as you want. You know. Um, Now, there's some money in this. So apparently, the restitution and such that would be paid as part of this program would go towards this American Worker Fund to provide workforce development or education initiatives to help U.S. citizens look for work or transition to different careers. Um, I have no words really with respect to that, but that's a huge part of where the money would be going. It's to help. This is a political. This is, remember, keep in mind that this is a political game in some regards here. So the money is going to go help and support workforce development among American citizens. Okay. Here's the other good part about this that I really, really, this is the part that I love. Okay. And this is the American, in addition to the Dreamers part, there's the American Families United Act. All right. The American Families United Act. And this would allow certain family members of US citizens to be able to apply for waivers, discretionary waivers, to forgive them for certain inadmissibility and deportable violations that are standing in their way of finally becoming a green card holder. Now, the American Families United Act gives DHS the authority to review specific immigration cases involving U.S. citizens to prevent family separation and hardship for U.S. citizens in immigration proceedings. Specifically, it provides discretionary authority in immigration cases in which the individual is the spouse or child of a U.S. citizen. And It allows the DHS secretary to review the case and take one of the following actions. Number one, waive the grounds of inadmissibility or deportability. Number two, decline to issue a notice to appear in immigration court. Number three, decline to reinstate an order of removal or grant an alien permission to reapply for admission to the United States. And then it also allows some individuals to file a motion to reopen or reconsider their case. And there's some other good stuff in here as well for family members of U.S. citizens who are outside of the United States seeking a visa to come to the U.S. It would create a temporary family visitation act to create a 90-day visitor visa that can be used by foreigners to travel to the United States for business, pleasure, or family unity or family purposes. This visa is only available to foreign individuals that have family members living in the United States who are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents. And to obtain this visa, U.S. citizens or the U.S. citizen or green card holder must apply on behalf of their relative and fill out a declaration of support and provide financial support for the visitor. The visitor must purchase health insurance, travel insurance, and some other things there. Um, there's also some good things in here too related to reducing the backlog with respect to the visa backlog. And those of you from certain countries and in certain categories who have been waiting for a very long time for your turn, okay? You're waiting for your turn to move forward with your process. This provides a premium processing fee of only $50,000 if you've been waiting in the visa backlog with an approved petition for at least 10 years. Okay, $50,000 for premium processing of your case. Double tap the screen on TikTok. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. Then it also does some good things with regard to raising the per country caps. This bill more than doubles the per country cap that is set in the Immigration Act of 1990 from 7% to 15%. Under current law, no country can receive more than 7% of the total number of employment-based or family-sponsored preference visas each year. This low percentage is causing decades-long backlogs in certain countries with large populations. This provision will greatly reduce and eventually eliminate those backlogs when combined with other reforms in the bill. And then it also includes some good things in here as well for children who are affected by the delays, who are aging out of the process. There's some good things in here. And then also with regard to STEM, those who are in the STEM field who have a doctorate degree, it clarifies that individuals who have earned a doctorate degree, a PhD in the field of science, engineering, mathematics, or technology are eligible to receive an O visa for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement. And it also applies to individuals that have received a PhD in healthcare or a medical profession. Some good stuff in here, guys. I'm not going to get into the border security stuff and the increased penalties and some other things. I think that yeah, if this can pass, it would be a beautiful thing for a lot of people, particularly for dreamers, for spouses of U.S. citizens who are facing very, very significant problems with immigration. This would really make a way for them, and so this is could be a very good thing. Okay, again, this is the Dignity Act that was reintroduced by Representatives Salazar and Escobar, along with 9 other Republicans and 9 other Democrats, making it 10 and 10 on both sides and therefore bipartisan. So with that being said, I'm going to stop reading now and take a look at some of your comments. And I know what you guys, some trolls were trying to do with this whole audio thing. It's not going to work, because my team has already assured me that the audio is good. So some of you will be banned after tonight's show. for trying to distract me. Let's go, guys. 50,000 is, yeah, 50,000. Okay. $50,000 for premium processing to get out of that backlog if you've been waiting for 10 plus years to get a visa. Our government, through this, if it passes, because it's tough, right? There's some elements of this that's tough that some Republicans can certainly get around, okay? Um, and let's keep going. Let's see. So, yes, for those of you who missed the beginning, certainly watch the replay, okay? Someone says, President Trump, please sign this into law now. You've heard the president talk about the fact that he wants to help the farmers, but the farmers need to be in control. They need to be in control, though. They're not hiring murderers. Farmers are not hiring murderers. They know who to hire, so we're going to trust them and we're going to carve something out for them. Yeah, that's what we're hearing right now, right? The rhetoric. And initially, certainly when I heard him talk about this weeks ago, I was one of the first to come out and say, oh, is Donald Trump considering amnesty? And then they were very clear to say, we're not going to be doing any amnesty for agricultural workers. We're going to bring in automation and we're going to replace them with US citizens who were on Medicaid, and they're able to work, but are they willing to work? That's the question, right? That they still cannot answer. So I don't know where the administration is on something like this. Okay. I just really don't know what their position will be on this. But again, there are some very tough elements of this that will be very attractive to some Republicans, okay? Freedom now, guys. Freedom now. What about if you have a deportation order? If you have a deportation order, work with an immigration lawyer, okay, to see what can be done about it, whether your case can be reopened and terminated, what your options could potentially be, okay? Employment-based backlogs are addressed in this Dignity Act as well. Yes. Do I believe in open border? No, I do not believe in open border, but that's absolutely irrelevant. Um, who qualifies for the Dignity Act? So who qualifies, again, and I'm just going to go to that section here. Again, individuals must go through their 7-year dignity program before they could get this dignity status. All right. And it's a very broad cat eligibility criteria here. Undocumented individuals who have been physically and continuously present in the United States since December 31st, 2020. They're only going as far back as that, are eligible to enroll. And you must pass criminal background checks, of course, and pay $1,000 upfront. $1,000 will get you into the program, and that $1,000 will be used. I misspoke earlier. It's the $1,000 that will be used to support American workers through that American Worker Fund. I don't know specifically where the restitution dollars, the 7,000, will be going to. Paying down the national debt, maybe, and some other things, infrastructure, border infrastructure. So it's very broad. If it passes, a lot of people could be eligible for this because a lot of people have been here over the last 5 years, really. When is this going to happen or be introduced? Earlier today, truly, I was looking, I was searching on congress.gov. Earlier today, I have not been on congress.gov over the last maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. So I'm not sure if anything has changed, but I didn't see the legislation there. I found the legislation itself. It's 260 something pages. I found it on uh, Representative Escobar's website, and it's under the press releases. I believe Salazar, just tonight, her staff got around to it. After all the hype they've been creating about it, you would think they would have been the first to put a press release out today, but that wasn't the case. They did, but they do have a press release out now, which summarizes it. I'm reading from the summary that they carefully drafted on it, a section by section analysis, which is really the best way to understand any legislation. Okay. All right. Hey there, Sarah. Thank you for that. She says, thank you for your updates. It helps with withholding, certainly. They have they're in this position right now with a work permit. They cannot travel, they cannot leave. And they would need to reopen their removal case in order to shift to permanent residency status. This program here, this dignity program, if it passes the House and the Senate and Trump signs it into law, it's a very broad criteria right now. It sounds like just about almost anyone who meet the residency requirement can enroll in this and get started with contributing to the restitution, start paying restitution right away, plus this 1% tax on top of that. Okay, let's see. All right, let's keep going. Uh, go do that. Time to start banning. Okay. Um, they are very afraid to do amnesty. Why are they so scared to do amnesty? You know, things were so much different back in the 1980s, right? When you had a president like Reagan who boldly pushed forward with an amnesty, and even George Herbert Walker Bush. Um, I think, yeah, he supported immigration reform and amnesty. George Bush, the son, I forget the middle name. He backed immigration reform as well to some extent. So it's not foreign to Republicans. It really isn't foreign to them. It's just that our culture now with the MAGA movement has made us so incredibly divisive, I think, and made immigration reform or amnesty seem like such a really awful thing when we know that for those for folks who might be eligible for an amnesty in the past, they had to jump through some hoops. Not everyone was eligible for the various amnesties over the years. They're afraid now to do it because they don't want to admit that they need immigrants here. They need the workers. They need us. They need you. They need the work to be done to keep this country going. That's what I think. Okay, there's that fear to admit that, oh, we need them, and also for political reasons. Both sides have been using immigrants over the years for various political reasons. All right, both sides. Um, if they want the president to look at that or to sign it, they need to stop attacking ICE. Believe me. Um, It's going to be interesting to see if there's any White House support for something like this. Remember, Trump did say, guys, I don't know, many of us don't believe a lot that comes out of the White House these days, but before he returned to office, he did say that he wanted to do something with Dreamers, right? Remember that? So I'm still holding out to see whether he would literally sit down or allow someone to sit down on Capitol Hill with folks and really carve something out. Who knows? Maybe this is it. They say that they've been negotiating and negotiating and negotiating this for a long time. And it took me a very long time to talk about this because I never really believed in it. And I never believed in it. I didn't talk about it in any significant way, despite you asking about it. But I did feel the need to talk about it tonight because I do see that there is some momentum building, and it's good that we know what they're talking about and what they have on the table. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I see you. Thank you. Okay. Um, Everyone call your congressman and ask them to support the Dignity Act. Yeah, like I said, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, the president of the association, supports many aspects of this. They actually praise this, okay? And I like a lot of things in here as well, particularly the American Families United section to allow certain waivers to be filed to forgive people who are married to U.S. citizens or have children who are U.S. citizens who would suffer such hardship if their loved one is not able to get lawful status here. It means so much to so many people. And for dreamers and DACA holders, it means a whole lot because that's the pathway to citizenship in here that I see, in addition to pathways for people who are married to a U.S. citizen under the Families United Act. All right. To allow for, to prevent family separation and all of that good stuff. Okay. Thank you. Do I really think it's going to pass in the Senate? Lala is asking. I think it's going to be a tough sell. I think it's going to be a tough sell. $7,000 over the 7 year period, or do you pay per year? It says here that folks will have to pay additional. So you start off with $1,000, of course. That's your initial contribution, and then additional restitution payments will need to be paid during every check-in until the total of 7,000 has been paid. And it also says here that folks have to check in every 2 years. So it's an every 2 year check-in process until the 7,000 is paid. George W. Bush, thank you for that. Because, I was actually going to think about it later. So thank you for uh, mentioning that. Hey there, Abdul. Good to see you. Um, let's see. Denaturalization. I see a question on that. I'm gonna continue studying. I've started actually. I was planning last week to do an entire week on the subject for you guys live, but we had a tragedy occur on our end, and so I wasn't able to pull it all together for you, but I will. That's on my to-do list. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, what about dreamers? So dreamers will, under this Dignity Act, will have a pathway to citizenship. Pathway to citizenship. Okay. All right. Please explain again what the Dignity Act is. So the Dignity Act has been reintroduced on Capitol Hill by a bipartisan group of congressmen and women. 10 Republicans and 10 Democrats are sponsors of this and support this bipartisan reintroduced bill. It does not provide a pathway to citizenship for the general undocumented person. It does so for dreamers and DACA holders. It also, in a nutshell, allows individuals to stay here and go through a 7 year program in which you have to check in with the government, with DHS, every 2 years, pay some fees up to $7,000 plus a 1% tax on your income, pay these fees. You have to be working out of the 4 years out of the 7 years. You must work or be in school. You must be a person of, you stay out of trouble, don't have a significant criminal background, and pass their background checks. And if you go through this 7 year program, you'll be able to get apply for a dignity status. Again, that status would not lead you to a green card, but it does, again, allow for you to stay here. You won't be removed. You won't be deported. You will be able to get a work permit while in the program as well, a work permit and a travel document. You just have to pay some fees and fines because the government would want you to think about the fact that, you've done something wrong, you've broken the law. in some way. So there's this restitution, paying back. That's a huge part of this. Okay, so that's the Dignity Act in a nutshell. Okay. Hey there, sunshine. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Um, and it applies to people who have been continuously and physically in the United States since really it's 2021, but December 31st, 2020. Okay. Thank you, is Isaiah's. Do I think this is a trap? Great question. It's so hard to trust the government, right? Because just last year we were all talking about the great news of parole in place for spouses of U.S. citizens, and we all saw what happened there. Do I think this is a trap? No, I don't think this one is a trap. I do think if you do this, of course, with any immigration process, you're going to go on the radar. You'll be known, your name, your address, your information, your family's information, your relative, there's going to be there will be a lot of data that they will collect, obviously, on individuals during this process and keep, right? And keep. I think it'll be okay. I do think it's gonna be okay. Um, because right now in my mind, I can't really see a future administration worse than the one that we have with respect to how it treats immigrants. I don't really have that foresight. This is the worst that I've seen. Is it for asylum seekers? This is not for asylum seekers. By the way, there's more to this. There are some, I shouldn't say it's not for asylum seekers. I take that back because there are reforms in here related to the asylum seeking process. Okay, there's asylum reform, which I will not read tonight. It's very long and it talks a lot about the screening process and what should happen there during the initial screening, secondary screening, and all sorts of stuff, which I just can't get into right now. What will happen in immigration court and all of that. Maybe another time I'll be able to cover the asylum section here. Someone is asking a question about the 90-day visa process. Let me just go back to that. Okay. Uh, so this is the temporary family. This is the temporary family Visitation Act. Okay, so this creates a new 90-day visitor visa that can be used by foreigners to travel to the United States for business, pleasure, or family purposes. And in this case, family purposes means maybe a visit by a relative for a social purpose or occasion, or an occasion such as a wedding, a birthday, family reunions, funerals, and things like that. This visa is only available to foreign individuals that have family members living in the U.S. who are U.S. citizens or green card holders, lawful permanent residents. And to obtain this visa, the US citizen or the green card holder must apply for the relative, I should say, and fill out an affidavit of support, stating that they will provide financial support to you. The visitor must buy travel health insurance, and they will not be able to adjust. I think I didn't say this earlier. The visitor will not be able to adjust his or her status to any other immigration status while in the United States. So this would create a new visa category for family members of US citizens and green card holders. All right. Lawyer Pompey, do you think this bill will pass? Tonight, I'm going to say yes to that. Okay. I just want to feel hopeful. I want to feel, and I know this is you're like rolling your eyes, like, oh, she's an attorney. I don't know what they're going to do on Capitol Hill. I want to believe that they can do this. I think that Salazar, with all of her media power, right, and her mouth, um, she might be able to get it done, guys. You know, these are the two women behind this. Maybe it'll take two women, right? Here you have Salazar and Escobar. They might be able to get this done. It might be possible. I want to stay hopeful tonight and see um, how far this goes. Okay, but I think that you deserve to know what's going on. Okay, let's keep going. Watch out for Stephen Miller. Someone says here. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of people obviously in the administration that are strongly opposed to anything that would allow for individuals who are here in the United States to get status. Even if they're US citizens, they want to pull that status away from them. So that's how bad the thinking is with respect to some people who are in government now. Um, Call your congressman, call your congresswoman, advocate, raise your voice. If this is something that you believe in, well, make it known, right? Um, contact them, all right? So you will never be a citizen under this bill. No, only dreamers and DACA recipients would be allowed to go as far as citizenship. Okay. And those who are married to a US citizen who are facing significant inadmissibility and deportability problems. Staying positive and hopeful. Who else is staying Thank you, Tina. Tina says that she's staying positive and hopeful. Me too. Me too, Tina. If you're staying positive, guys, thank you for the gifts. YouTube. They're giving me gifts over there on TikTok. What are you guys doing? No, but if you're staying positive, guys, let's just say I'm staying positive. I'm staying positive. I'm saying staying positive. We need something to really to be positive about. What about someone who has committed marriage fraud? Okay, so if you have a very serious problem on your record, like marriage fraud, um, although this particular bill talks about a criminal record, for some people, the marriage fraud had actually gone as far as a criminal conviction. Okay. And I've seen it many times in the practice that I have, okay, of it being a federal criminal charge or conviction. Rose to that level, then I think that you would have a very difficult time being approved under something like this. If it's just in the record on the file, fraud, there's fraud allegations on your record. I think it might be possible to be able to get into this type of program. But again, this is just so new. It's not a law yet. We don't have any regulations around how this is going to work. So this really has a ways to go. But I would really love to see something like this pass. Even if they decide they're going to tweak this just a little bit, fine, tweak it. But just do something. Don't leave dreamers, DACA holders, and all these people hanging. You've got to do something. You've got to do something. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Someone says this sounds fair. Okay. That's one perspective, right? Thank you, Delroy. I've seen your comments. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's keep going. Someone says this will not pass. 100% Trump will veto this. Benjamin Franklin, resurrected from the dead. Benjamin Franklin. God is on the throne, Melina says. Does the $7,000 renewal cover the entire family? I have no idea. It doesn't, this section by section that I read tonight doesn't go into that level of detail, okay? It doesn't go into that level of detail. False claim. So for instance, the Family United Act, I would really think that that would cover false claim, okay? And the permanent bar, right? right? I'm not telling you guys to say, type in here, oh, permanent bar is affecting me. No, do not share those details on a public forum. But I know that some of you are struggling with that problem of the permanent bar, and the Family United, I think, would really make a significant difference for someone in that scenario. Okay. Um, Let's see. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap up now. Okay, we're going to wrap up. Um, Someone says I'm here late. What is the Dignity Act? We're going to wrap up blank, and you'll see this video again on YouTube tonight, and you'll hear about all of the details, okay? Which says that the Dignity Act was reintroduced today by a bipartisan group of congressmen and women led primarily by two women. Okay, Representative Salazar out of Florida and Escobar out of Texas, a Democrat. They have 9 other Republicans and 9 other Democrats joining them with this, supporting this, including Mike Lawler of New York and some other people who are supporting this. And it would allow for lawful status after paying a significant amount of fines, 7,000 in restitution plus some tax, and also proving that you're working, proving that you are in school if it's relevant, if school is your destination. For 4 years out of 7 years, you were either working or in school. You'll get a work permit, a travel document, be free from protected from deportation proceedings, and then 7 years after this program ends for you, you would be eligible to obtain a status that is renewable for as many times as you'd like to renew it. And it looks like it's a 7-year renewable term. And then there's some other really good stuff in here for spouses of U.S. citizens who are facing major inadmissibility problems and deportability problems. And then there's stuff in here about the visa backlog and the fact that premium processing would be available for individuals who are in a visa backlog with an approved petition that has been pending for at least 10 years to pay $50,000, 50,000, right? $50,000 in premium processing to get your case moving and out of this backlog. Then it increases the per country caps, which is great. And then it does some great things here for STEM professionals with a PhD, right? It would allow them to transition to the O visa. There's some really good stuff in here. You know, this is quite a number of things in here is basically on the wish list. Now, there's other things in here that are more on the enforcement side of things related to our border, related to E-Verify. It would really push employers to do E-Verify of all of their employees to ensure that only documented, legally authorized employees are in their organization. So it really pushes for that as well. So there's actually a lot in here. And then it also reforms the asylum seeking process as well. So that's the Dignity Act reintroduced without a pathway to citizenship for those who complete the Dignity program. Guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight in this one. I appreciate your attention and time. Thank you so much for being here. And, you know, let's see, let's ban this one. Thank you guys so much for being with me, and stay tuned for video. We have a podcast that we're going to be sharing with you guys on Thursday about with me and another immigration attorney, so that you'll recognize her as well. Some of you will. Um, some of us immigration attorneys on what is this forum called again? YouTube. And in the world of social media, some of us actually know each other. And so I have a nice podcast coming out on Thursday with someone familiar to some of you, talking about a variety of topics, things that we're seeing, and some issues that are happening with immigration. So check that out on Thursday on McBean Immigration TV. Guys, thanks so much for being with me in this one. It was a pleasure. And if this passes or moves forward, I will be sure to keep you guys posted. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye bye.